good afternoon, good evening, good night to you at whatever time of day you are listening to this. I'd like to officially welcome you to the IPL podcast, Impact, Purpose, Leadership, where energy meets leadership and optimism is the name of the game. I am your host, Rodolfo Bonates, a 28-year-old entrepreneur who has a living passion for people. Let's start with a few characteristics about me. I live and breathe leadership. My middle name is enthusiasm, and optimism is the lens in which I like to view this world in. But beyond the hustle, there's always been a constant thing in my career and my life, and is a huge passion for people. From leading at a young age in school sports, through my career, I've always found myself being a leader of some type of team. Professionally, I've had a wild ride in what I say made my career, which was in the fitness industry for almost a decade, almost 10 years. Think big names like Gold's Gym, Crunch Fitness, and my last venture, Orange Theory Fitness, where I believe it turned that magical key for me to break out in my leadership career. Now, if you don't know anything about Orange Theory, I want to give them a special shout out to OTF. We're definitely going to spend a full episode talking about it. I do work out myself, and honestly, I believe that Orange Theory is the best 1 hour workout out there for anybody to do. Whether you're a rock star athlete or you're just starting your fitness journey, Orange Theory is for you. So we're definitely going to come back up to OTF, as again, it really was the churning key in my career. And we're definitely going to talk about it, pay some respect to Orange Theory. So once again, shout out to OTF. Today, I have my own business, IPL Consulting, Impact Purpose Leadership Consulting, where I help organizations through a winning formula that I believe is the formula to success, which is culture plus people plus processes equals that long-term success. And we're going to dive a lot about this in upcoming episodes. I'm also a business partner to a couple businesses. I have a construction company. I am a partner there, DNR Elite Construction. And me and my mom are partners in a family-owned business, Grace Cakes. So whether you're looking for some renovations in your home, you're looking to build, you're looking to develop, or you're looking to throw a party with delicious cakes and desserts, hit your boy up because we got you. Now, my life mission has been really consistent throughout my whole life. Purpose. I think once you find your true purpose, you start living life with a different lens, with a different view, with a different point of view. And my mission is to constantly be paying my success forward. I believe in growing and contributing. Growing and learning everything I can, but not keeping that information to me, contributing, teaching others. Because the best way to learn, believe it or not, is being able to teach people. You learn a certain type by listening, you learn a certain type by taking notes, but the best way to learn is by getting that information and giving it back to people. Now, my mission for this podcast is simple. I want to give you guys my best. I want to be able to, every time you log in and you give me your time, you are going to post something valuable. Now, I'm not going to sit here and promise that the whole episode is going to be valuable to you, but I want every episode to have one key thing that you can take away. And that's how I view life. Whether I'm in trainings, meetings, whatever it may be, if I'm spending my time, I'm looking for one thing, one valuable piece of information that I can use, that I can contribute with, whatever it may be. So that is my mission for this podcast. Now let's talk about what should you expect every time you do log in and listen to the IPL podcast. First, business, baby. We're going to be breaking down the pillars of success of a business. We're going to explore the dynamics of business, really focusing on that formula, culture plus people plus processes. Again, I believe that is the winning formula for any organization to see long-term success. We're going to talk leadership, ownership, all the way down. If you are a shift leader, this is for you. There's no topics that's going to be specific about owners, topics specific about managers. It's leadership. I believe leadership is more than a position. It's a lifestyle. And we're also going to talk about leadership in life. How can you portray that lifestyle in all areas of your life, right? Not just work. Work is something we spent most of our time in, but you can be a leader in other areas of your life too. And with that being said, we're going to talk life. Life is a journey, and we're embarking in this journey together. We're going to be talking about from all the way from ups, downs, and everything in betweens, especially young professionals. I understand the world out there may be scary, but if you change your mentality, there's a different point of view waiting for you to see. So we're going to be breaking down lives and life struggles and young professional struggles, anything with to do with your life. We're going to break down human behavior. Now we'll dive into the intricacies of human behavior because understanding yourself is the best way to have meaningful connections with others. Here's a tip. If you ever are trying to change somebody, your kid, your boss, your coworker, your partner in life, that change needs to start with you. And once it starts with you, then you're able to change other people. So keep that in mind. And last but not least, we're going to have what I feel will be my favorite types of episodes, which is the roundtable episodes, where we're going to bring fascinating guests to deep dive into specific topics, whether it's these topics that I mentioned to you guys right now, whether it is just a meaningful conversation. It's about creating a space for that rich conversation for you, the listener, to be able to pull out valuable pieces of gems. Cool? Now let's get into our first ever episode of IPL Podcast. I decided to start with a bang today, team. Why not talk about culture? Culture is everything in your business. So let's do that. What is culture? Why do I need that? What are you talking about? In the wise word of management guru Peter Drucker, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And indeed, it does. Let's kick off our exploration with a resounding truth that culture is everything. It's everything in your business. It's not just a mere backdrop. It's a dynamic force that propels movement. It fuels sales. It helps you retain top talent. And most important, it creates innovative people. People who want to grow with you. Now, I'm just talking about 3 examples here. Culture can be broken down into hundreds of different branches. But I believe that these 3 examples is what people in today's world is struggling a lot with, which is sales, retaining your top key people, not losing them to somebody who's paying them a little bit more, and innovation, because you are centralizing every piece of work. So I want you to think about this for a moment. Think about any big companies out there, Apple, Microsoft, any successful big companies out there. And I want you to think about the seamless movement within those companies. It's not just about efficient processes or even good pay. I'm telling you, when you have a good culture in place, pay is the last thing your people are thinking about. It's about a culture that values collaboration. It encourages open communication, and it pushes growth that is supportive, that has great leadership, and it offers opportunities. This movement is the heartbeat of any successful organization out there. When a right culture is in place, and again, keep in mind, culture, there's many branches. But when the right culture is in place, you hire to fit that culture. You don't hire to see if that person fits it, mess around what you already have working, and then end up having to lose that individual, firing, losing them for something else, whatever it may be. When you have the right culture in place, you hire for that culture. And beyond that, you are more keen, more sensitive to not tolerate energy vampires. And I'm going to give you a book right now that talks about energy vampires. If you haven't heard about John Gordon was the first author that really developed this passion and leadership in me. And the book that changed my perspective in organizational culture was his book, The Energy Bus. Now, when you pick up this book, you might think it's a child's book. It's a yellow cover book with a big orange bus. But let me tell you, this book is the key for you to be able to start moving your culture in a positive direction. Now let's talk about those 3 examples that I mentioned earlier, how it affects your culture. Starting with sales. We all here agree that sales is the lifeblood of any business, correct? Without sales, there's no business. Now, you might sit here and say, Rodolfo, my business doesn't have products to sell. Okay, but you are selling yourself. You're selling an idea. If you're in construction, you're selling a dream. If you're in development, you're selling a dream. If you're in fitness, you're selling a membership. No matter what, you're constantly selling. If you're a content creator, you're selling yourself. You're selling your image. So without sales, there is no business. We all agree with that, right? Now, without a culture of sales, you might be seeing things like goals maybe not being met. Maybe people aren't caring about the sale at all. They don't care. They have a salary. They're fine with that salary. Why do they need more money? Or maybe even worse, maybe some people might show attitude towards that client customer because they didn't make the sale, because they're so focused on the end result, aka commissions, that they forget about meaningful connections. I learned this year that I've always lived my life thinking I was a shark. I'm gonna be a little vulnerable with you guys. I've always lived my life thinking I was a sales shark, that I can sell anything. But I realized that in sales, you don't want to be a shark. You don't want to be able to sell anything to anybody. In sales, it's about how can my client win and how can I win in return. It's both parties winning. And instead of shark, a funny thing for you to start referencing yourself is a dolphin. That's what a dolphin does. So be a sales dolphin, not a sales shark. Because what dolphin does is care about that individual's wins and cares about my win as well. Both parties are constantly winning. Upselling doesn't need to happen every single time. Getting back to culture of sales. So when all that happened, people aren't caring about sales. People only care about commissions. People only care about the end results. What's the result? They leave. They leave because they simply don't like selling. Now ask yourself, does any of this sound like you? Is any of this resonating with your business today? Team, culture is the intangible factor that influences that customer experience. It's the authenticity of your brand. It's being able to speak about your brand when you sell. I remember when I was working at Orange Theory and I would convince somebody to sign up for the gym, and I convinced them. And it would be 3 weeks later without even having this knowledge about being a dolphin, because I've always cared about people. I told you guys, connecting with people, it's always been natural to me. But they would come back 2, 3 weeks later and literally tell me, thank you, Rodolfo. Thank you for convincing me to sign up for something like this. Because I didn't care if I got the sale or not. I cared if that individual was going to be a winner in the long run. I cared if they were going to see results. And once I put them in front, my career was successful. Do you understand what I'm saying? Culture is everything. It forges the authentic relationships. Sales culture, right? Now, how about retention? I'm going to get a little direct with this one because I feel like retention is a problem that the world, or at least the United States, because I live in the United States, is having. I have some clients who their struggles is to find people. I have some clients who are struggling to keep people. So I'm going to be a little direct with this one. I want you to really think about this. Have you witnessed in your business a revolving door? A revolving door where people are lasting maybe 6 months, 3 months, 8 months. People aren't even lasting a full year anymore because they're looking for instant gratification. Ask yourself this question, have you recently said, no one wants to work nowadays? Or even worse, this young generation of workers, they don't hustle anymore. They don't like working anymore. They're lazy. Be honest with yourself. Have you caught yourself saying anything of this? Let me ask you a powerful question. How much longer are you going to be doing the same exact thing, but expecting different results? Come on, think about this one. How long are you going to keep hiring the same way, but expecting to hire different people? How long are you going to have the same training processes in place and expect people to like it or to stay or to have new people come in? So how long are you going to keep doing the same thing but expecting different results? If you didn't know, that is the definition of insanity. That is being insane. Is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over, but expecting different results. Employee retention team is way more than just being able to keep your staff. It's about cultivating a community where individuals feel valued, engaged, and invested in the long-term success of that organization. I'm going to give you a tip. And this is gold. This is gem. This is a tip for you to start changing your culture today. If you start implementing these things that I'm about to tell you, your culture will start progressing in the right direction. I'm not saying that you're going to snap your finger and magic's going to happen. That's not how the world works. Dreaming is real, but dreaming with action becomes reality. So if you do this, if you can prioritize connecting purpose with work. What do I mean by connecting purpose with work? This generation, and I'm 28, and I'm including my generation, millennials, shout out to us. And even the new generation, we want to feel purpose in our work. We want to feel that anything that we do in a professional manner has a bigger meaning, has a bigger purpose, aka this podcast. Again, I'm authentic, I'm real, I'm vulnerable. This podcast is my purpose work. It's about connecting with you guys. It's about growing and contributing. I feel purposeful doing this. It ain't about compensation. It's about my dream. It's about what I'm naturally inclined to do. So number one, connecting purpose with work. Number two, employee well-being. Team, mental health is a real problem in the United States right now. And let me tell you, I don't have the percentage, but I can guarantee it's a high percentage that mental health is being caused in a professional manner. Why? Because we spend most of our days at work. We spend most of our time at work. I'm at work 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. So if you don't prioritize employee well-being, if you don't recognize that mental health is a real thing, you're wrong. Let me add on to this. Who's here said to somebody, again, whether you're an owner, whether you're a leader, whether you're a shift manager, whether you're climbing up to that position, who said to somebody, an employee, somebody below them, leave your emotions at the door? Do you understand that's impossible to do? We human beings have two sides of our brain. We have a rational side and an emotional side. Being emotional is part of our nature. Every human being is an emotional being. Now, there are people out there who've developed emotional intelligence, which is being able to use the right emotion at the right time. Those people can maybe leave it at the door, but they're going to be thinking about it still, my friend. If you can provide an open door policy where people trust to have these types of conversation with you, then you're prioritizing employee well-being. People are going to come to you. So we talked about connecting purpose with work, employee well-being. professional development. Do you know every human being thrives and craves growth? We crave it. We always want to be growing. And I remember young, really young in my Orange Theory career, my boss used to say, millennials, all they want is the next thing up. That's not just millennials, that's every single human being. We crave growth. Now, you might sit here and argue with me and say, well, what about those people who like to be complacent, who like to be complacent, who like doing the same thing every single day? Sure. But you don't think they want to financially grow? You don't think they want new information? I agree. There are people who are okay. They're okay in their position. They don't want more responsibilities, but they want other types of growth in their life. So professional development is you investing in your people, is you buying courses, is you understanding your people a little bit better. That is how you prioritize professional development, is caring about the development beyond just the information of your organization. Again, emotional intelligence, and we will have an episode about emotional intelligence. I feel like that is one skill that every human being needs. And do you know there are emotional intelligence courses out there that you can provide for your leadership team? So we got connecting purpose with work, employee well-being, professional development, and a sense of belonging within the workplace. Now, how do you provide a sense of belonging within the workplace? Take it an extra level. Providing a sense of belonging within the workplace is hearing ideas, is creating an environment where me, the boss, is able and responsible to hear feedback from the people under me, how I can improve. That's how I do it, because they also have a say. It's me providing a culture where people can speak up their ideas, because it matters. And we're going to get into that when we talk about innovation. But I got one more for you. Always have a positive vision of the future for the business, for your organization, and your people. What is a positive vision of the future? It's having goals and objectives. It's first knowing where I am today. And after that is identifying with goals and objectives. Where do I want to be 6 months from today? Where do I want to be a year from today? 2 years, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And you want to share that vision with people, because again, people crave growth. It's simple like that. And when you can show that they can grow, so the business is growing, and now we add on their professional growth, their professional vision, man, that's it. That's how you start moving your culture forward. That's when you'll have loyal people. And once you have loyal people, the best way to hire people is when people are being referred to you. Come on, think about sales. Who are the best types of leads? Are your referrals? Is the people who heard you from word of mouth. But you got to provide a place where people want to be part of. That is the magic sauce to having a culture of retention, a culture where people want to be part of. I'm going to repeat those tips for you once more. We have being able to provide connecting purpose with work. Number 2, providing employee well-being or prioritizing employee well-being. 3, a professional development, providing a trajectory for professional development, professional growth. And don't just think your organization. I go back to leadership as a lifestyle. Leadership is about what can I give my people that they can take on beyond the time I have with them. A sense of belonging within the workplace, and always providing and knowing your positive vision of the future. That is how you create a culture where people want to be part of. It's simple as that. Now let's talk about innovation. Innovation is deep too. Leader, owner. Maybe the business doesn't move without you. Maybe you don't know what work-life balance is. Maybe you clock in or you get into work and you're so distracted by so many other things that your actual tasks that you had to do that day doesn't get done, and you drag work to home. And be honest, when you do that, if you have a life partner, you're hurting that relationship. You're hurting much more. Maybe you centralize everything. And what do I mean by centralize everything? Every project, every task, everything has to be done by you. Because if it's not done by you, it might not be correct. Or maybe you even trust to delegate, but when it comes back, it's not right. So now you have to spend twice the time to do it where you should have done it in the first place. I say this in loving but brutal words. My friend, you are not only destroying yourself, but you're destroying the people around you. And in a professional manner, you're destroying your team. When a leader centralizes work, it is the worst thing you can do to your culture. Because when we go back to creating a sense of where people want to be part of, there's no growth opportunities there. The leader does everything. And then owner, this one's for you. When your leader centralizes everything and they decide to leave, guess what? You don't have the next person up. Nobody's ready. And it becomes a revolving door of leader after leader because you don't take the time to create a culture where people want to be part of, to create a culture where people can innovate, where people can share their ideas. You see how it works? The driving force, team, behind staying relevant in a forever changing world, it's allowing your people to contribute. It's allowing ideas to be heard. It's creating a culture that embraces creativity. It values being able to experiment things, and it encourages a growth mindset. That is the breeding ground for groundbreaking ideas, for a culture of innovation. And I told you guys, these three examples, they line up with each other. One talks to each other. And I believe that these three examples are maybe the top three things organizations are having issues with today. So I want you to imagine something. After everything I talked about, imagine your business. Imagine your business today as a vibrant ecosystem where every decision, every interaction, and every innovation is influenced by this invisible yet omnipresent force. It's that silent architect that shapes the way your team collaborates, the way your brand is perceived, and the way your enterprise adapts a forever changing world. I am living my life in 2024 with three values added to my list, which is evolve, because it's a forever changing world. The world continues to evolve. If you want an example, look at the past 4 years, 3 years. Before COVID, technology was there, was upcoming, but it exponentially grew. We're consistently evolving. So evolve, adapt to the situation, and innovate. These are three values that are currently added to my value list. Now I want to ask you guys 5 questions that's going to help you identify the actual state of your business today. Again, remember when we were talking about retention, I mentioned that the first step of creating that positive vision is identifying where you are today. The first step is bringing consciousness to the reality that you're living today. That's the first step, is being able to recognize where you are wrong and where you need to improve. Agreed? And I think everything I talked about here already started bringing you some consciousness. But listen to these questions. Number one, how are the company's values reflected in the day-to-day action today? Rodolfo, we don't even have values. Yikes. So how do you expect to attract like-minded people if you don't have values? How do you expect connecting purpose with work if you don't have values? So my friend, if your answer is we don't have values, you better turn this thing off right now and go think about your company values today. And here's some examples of what company values are. Maybe you value passion, passionate people. You need to have passion to be able to work here. Maybe you value innovation, community, creativity. There's so many I can name here. But if you don't have values, that's your first step, my friend. Question number 2, how does the team handle challenges and adversities? There are curveballs every single day in business. There's curveballs every single day in life. How does your team handle challenges and adversities? Think about that one. Marinate it. Question number 3, how are individual and collective success recognized and celebrated? Do you even take the time to give your people feedback? Again, think about everything I talked about earlier. Every human being wants to grow. So how are individual and collective success recognized within your business? 4, in what ways does the company support professional development and learning? We crave it. I can't say it enough. Every human being, you listening right now, you crave growth. Information is like a drug. Once you get a taste of it, you want more. And last question, what is the overall feeling of employee regarding the work environment? This question needs to be asked, I would say, every month. If you have scheduled one-on-ones, maybe on a monthly or quarterly basis, this question needs to be asked. Your people's feedback matters. You being able to listen to them matters. Again, creating a sense of belonging within the workplace. So let me repeat those questions for you. How are the company values reflected in the day-to-day action? How does the team handle challenges and adversities? In what ways does the company support professional development and learning? How are individual and collective success recognized and celebrated? And in what is the overall feeling of employees regarding the work environment? Team, in essence, culture is not just a passive backdrop, but it's an active agent in the success story of your business. It shapes the narrative, it influences the characters, and it sets the stage for the grand performance of your employees. It's time. It's time for you to recognize the transformative power that culture influences within your business. The power to elevate your business from mediocre to extraordinary, from a mere entity to a thriving ecosystem of success where every element, every individual, and every endeavor is guided by this invisible hand of the culture. My friends, listeners, thank you so much for giving me your time, the privilege of having your time today for our first ever episode of the IPL podcast, Impact, Purpose, Leadership. You're going to realize that these 3 words really resonate with me. I didn't mention back when we were talking about my profession Not only I have these 3 businesses, I'm also a life and business coach. I'm a mentor to many, many leaders. So where are you going to find me? Social media. You can find me at Rodolfo Bonates on Instagram. That's RODOLFOBONATES. And if you have any business inquiries, you're looking to expand this conversation, DM me. But you can also email me at my business email, which is rbonates, RBONATES, at iplbusinessconsulting.com. Again, that's rbonates at iplbusinessconsulting.com. Team, thank you so much. And I'll catch you guys on episode 2. Have a great one.